During my last update, I went over the fact that I was probably going to have to build out the wings for the Mustang 2 myself, and so I decided to actually start working on that. Obviously, I can't finish the wings because I've got stuff that I've got to build in conjunction with them. However, there's a lot of work that needs to be done as far as just drilling holes and doing the dimpling. So these pictures that you see going by now, if you have been on my Discord, you've already seen all of these. However, I wanted to go over specifically the dimpling process because I did show this picture out of the manual that came with the airplane, and these were some build instructions regarding dimpling. And these instructions were something that one of the aircraft mechanics on my Discord had never seen before. So I figured it might be interesting to actually show the process. Now, obviously, you can buy a dimpling tool, dimpling dies and a clamp, and you can do this manually. However, that cost extra. If you want to buy those tools in my situation where you don't have a whole lot left to do on the airplane, it doesn't really make sense. The rivets themselves are relatively inexpensive, so I don't mind, using some of them up to use them as essentially a dimpling die. So this is the dimpling die that I made. It's roughly to the specifications in the documentation there. Basically just a piece of scrap steel that I drilled and countersunk some holes in to match up to the rivets. So here's an example of the dimpling process. I'm just sticking a rivet in the corner hole there. I'm going to stick my dimpling bar behind it and then just hit it with the rivet gun. And that's all there is to it. It's that quick. So this is what it looks like once you stick a rivet in the hole. I'm going to put two rivets here right next to each other, one in the hole that is dimpled, and then one right next to it in a hole that isn't dimpled. Now, the rivet in the dimpled hole, when it's actually hammered in, will be fitting flush. It's sitting just a little bit proud right now, not only because there's still plastic on this piece of metal, but I have not dimpled the underlying structure. When it comes to the underlying structure, I found that this technique works quite well with the rivets on the skin and on the ribs. However, the spars, both the main spar and the rear spar, are made of a slightly thicker aluminum. So for those, I actually ended up finding a beveled stainless steel screw that was very similar in size to the rivet, and I just used that instead. The rivets on that thicker material had a tendency to mushroom a little bit, and I had to drill quite a few of those out experimenting. So what I ended up doing, like I said, is using that stainless steel screw instead on those thicker pieces, and that seemed to work out very well. Now what I'm doing here is just showing you how quickly you can do this, working down a row on the skin. And this is the neat thing about this technique, is it can be done anywhere. If you're using a clamp, you'd have to have an awful large clamp to get to the center of a skin like this. Now, it is a bit awkward here, trying to work around the camera. I can actually go considerably faster than what I'm showing here in the video, but I am working around the camera trying to get a good shot while also doing the work. And I just dropped my rivet there. So yeah, you can actually go a little bit faster than this, but as you can see, it's not a slow process at all. The only real difficulty here is just making sure that you get the hole in your dimpling bar lined up, especially in the center of a sheet like this, and doing that without getting my head in the way of the camera was not very easy. I think I'm just going to do this row of 5 here in this clip, and as you can see, it went by pretty quickly. And this is what that skin looked like after all the dimpling was done. Well, I say all the dimpling, it was all the dimpling for those holes. I do still have to build some stiffeners for the trailing edge and get those riveted in, as well as the piece of trailing edge reinforcement. So there's still more holes to drill, there's still more dimpling to do, but that was all done fairly quickly. In any case, hopefully you guys found that interesting. As I have more updates, I will produce some more content for you. I do have one other thing that I will be sharing pretty soon regarding a little bit of a competition for a chance for at least those within the lower 48, a chance to actually fly in the airplane if you can guess the N number. So I'm going to go over that in an upcoming video and let you know what's what with that. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will catch you later. Thanks for watching.